Destiny Jensen, Destiny Kalamba, and Destiny Tanawan. He is also currently the lead pastor who is overseeing the plant church in Chiang Mai. He and his wife Janet are blessed with 4 lovely daughters. And I am just amazed at his heart. The heart to reach out for the lost and the heart to minister to those who need reconciliation. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Pastor Ariel Denor.
Give you a fine and affordable seat. Sorry about that, I missed for a while. Father, we thank you so much for your presence in our midst. Thank you for the opportunity to worship you. Our prayer, you would continually reveal yourself to us, even with this conference, Lord. Not only that we will have a glimpse of who you are, we will encounter your powerful love. Father, we thank you for this very moment. Reveal your face to us, how good you are to us. We honor your name. We give you glory in Jesus' name. Amen. I know this is the best time to have a nap. Having good food, lack of sleep, it's a perfect match. Can you just lay your hands to the person next to you and just violently pray, Lord, don't make this person sleep. Stay awake, Lord. Make him awake. Don't worry, I call you by your name when you're sleeping. And I will give you an audience participation. Anyway, it's such an honor to be here. It's really beautiful when we are together just worshiping God. Just being in the presence of God. You cannot replace it to something else. And especially when you're enjoying with different nations. And you have that feel and you have that taste of what's available in the heaven when we will gather together there. Amen? So, what a beautiful country, what a beautiful place. We thank you for our family here in Bali, Indonesia, or here in Indonesia. Can we give them a hand? Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who really took a sacrifice to save, to have you lead so that you could join us. Thank you for being here. I know that we are in a fortunate time to capture what is available in God's heart. And I know that God is preparing us for greater things. And it's amazing how God brings people into our lives so that we can accomplish our purposes. So not only to our tribe, but He always uses people from different places, different families. For God is so committed to what He has placed in our lives as a dream. Amen? And I'll be sharing a message that is so dear in my heart, that really kept me through the years, even up to now, because of this message. And the message is all about covenant. I know that the word covenant is not commonly preached now in the church or in many churches. But I would like us to understand that every time God does something, He always starts with a covenant or a relationship. It is not based in contract, emotions, or preferences. God always starts with a covenantal relationship. And it's amazing to understand how covenant works. And in this room, are my peers and my friends who I am covenanted with for almost 30 years now. So, if you may, my brethren during the 90s, especially early 90s, if you may, please stand up and be recognized, if you may. Come on, come on. You know, during the 90s, SSU days, come on, stand up. People at the back, can we give them a hand? And I am so happy to announce that all these leaders now, I think 100% are now pastors. Come on, can we give God a mighty praise? Thank you so much. God is just so faithful in His promises, because when we started a student movement, and we are all thin, not like who we are today. Not only, we're now fat. Not physically fit, but physically fat. We have extra energy for a lot of things. But again, this Destiny family is birthed with a prayer and a covenantal relationship. And we are a bunch of hungry people, desperate to see God moving in our time. And one of the things that I will never forget, that every time we gather is the covenant time. And it impacted my life personally, because we believe that covenantal relationship is not convenient relationship, but it's all about covenant relationship. And it impacted me in a way that I treated my relationship always operating in a covenant. I found a family where they have accepted not only your best, but even possibly, I would say, our worst. Because we believe when God places a dream in our lives, there is a process between the promise to our destiny is a process. And oftentimes, the process is not easy. It's challenging. And we needed people, as an expression of God's love, to journey with us. We needed encouragement. We needed one another. Amen? Yes. Do you believe that we needed one another in order for the best, the dream of God in our lives will come into reality? And it's been almost 3 decades since I joined Destiny Family. And I have a fair share of stories to share, of heights and lows and heights. But I would say it's only by His grace. Yeah. And covenant relationship is not only during good times, but also in the worst times. And it's so easy to just let go of a relationship when it's no longer working, when it's tough times. But covenant says, I will not let you go, because I can see the dreams that God has placed in your life. We needed that kind of picture in every church, in every community, because when God showed us His commitment in His scripture, that whatever He started in our lives, God is faithful. He will do it, He will fulfill it. Amen? So, what is covenant? Covenant is a pledge, alliance, and oath between two individuals or parties. It is always includes two parties, two individuals. Can be two churches, two movements. It always two parties. It is coming together. It's bilateral. And it's sealed by both parties vowing, often by oath, that each having equal privileges and responsibilities and will carry out their assigned roles. In short, in the context of covenant in the Old Testament, they always make this agreement what are the benefits of keeping the covenant. At the same time, it's being stipulated that if you fail to do so, if you turn your back with the covenant, there's a curse. And in the scripture, we could see models of covenant. We have the Davidic covenant, we have Abrahamic covenant, we have many kinds of covenants. We also have Mosaic covenant. But I would like just to highlight the covenant between God and Abraham in Gen 15, just to show us how God demonstrated to us covenant. In Genesis 15, we can read Genesis 15, starting verse 1 to 17. I won't go every verse, but I would just like to show you and to just give you a gist what happened in Genesis 15. So Genesis 15, God had a covenant with Abraham, and he has Abraham to have animals for sacrifice. And normally in the Old Testament, you cut the animals into two, meaning nothing is hidden. So we could read it from there. Abraham cut the animals that God asked him to sacrifice into two, except for the birds. So Abraham was there to have a covenant with God. And it came up to the point that he was so exhausted and he fell asleep. So in verse 16 and 17, something happened in this beautiful picture. Can we read Genesis 15, verse 16 and 17? Verse 17. 17 and 18. Okay. When the sun had set and it was dark, a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch appeared and passed between the divided animals. In verse 18. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham and said to your descendants, I gave this land to your offspring from the brook of Egypt to the Euphrates River, so on and so forth. But I would just like to highlight here, wait a minute. It says the covenant is between two parties. But here, when Abraham was sleeping, God did the covenant alone. So meaning that the covenant we have with God is no longer dependent with man, but is dependent on Him. Because even if we fail to fulfill our part, He is saying, I am committed to the covenant I have made with Abraham. Can I hear amen to that? And in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13, can we read that verse? Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13. For when God made a promise to Abraham, since he had no one greater to swear, he swore by himself. He said, if God is saying to us, He is reminding us that God is committed to what He promised to Abraham. Amen? That every single word that He promised to Abraham as a covenant, He will fulfill it. And it's powerful because in Galatians chapter 3, last verse of 3 is 29, that if we are, let me just read the verse in Galatians. And if you are Christ, then you are Abraham's seed, heirs according to the promise. In short, we belong to that Abrahamic covenant. Amen? So, just stating this as to establish something, that God is committed to us, to His promises. When He made the covenant, He will do it. Every single word that He uttered to us, He is able to fulfill. Amen?
Amen.
So, in the scripture, in the Old Testament, God used covenant to settle disputes. So we can see stories in the scripture like Abimelech and Isaac in Genesis 26. They settled their disputes through covenant. And so with Joshua, the Gibeonites, and Solomon and Hiram. So we can see that covenant is so powerful. And when we learn about this message about covenant, it really impacted our lives. Because we wanted to walk in this covenantal relationship that says, I will not let you go. I am committed to you for life. I remember when we were young, when we made covenant, we were so thin. And at that time, there's scarcity of food. Literally. Yeah, it's like now you can barely recognize if that's true. Because during the college days, the line that we used to say is this: I will go hungry first before you go hungry. And it's real. We even have a song that my grocery is your grocery. My locker is your locker too. Because, we are students from different provinces of the Philippines, and we are scholars, and sometimes allowances are delayed, so when you don't have an allowance, it's quite a challenge, You don't know where to get your food. But good thing we have covenant sisters and brothers who are so committed to really support you because they believe in you. And I would say that all of us, we are recipient of that covenantal relationship up to this point. So I take it into heart that I will walk this life into covenantal relationship. Because it's easy to turn your back when everything is not okay. Especially in the church. And I'll share a story. So during college days, when we graduated, we started as a para-church. We started a student movement. So when we graduate, we will be absorbed by different churches. But all the brethren who join our group, even if we will not see each other for 10 years, 15 years, as if it happens yesterday, because of the covenant relationship. And it's so precious, Every time that we break that bread, there's tears in our eyes. And we will look at them and make sure that I'll go hungry first before you go hungry. And make sure that I will support you. But I realize that it's no longer about food. Our covenant these days, Destiny Family, and to our families here from different movements, it's no longer about food. But it's being covenantal with one another. How committed are we in supporting one another so that other people could fulfill their call in their lives. Amen? It is about time to enter the covenant relationship knowing that you're not alone, that you have a family to support you. Why we say family? Because in the family, you don't choose your brothers. Amen? Do you choose your brother? And we pursue family, but I'll tell you, family is messy. Parents who are parents here, family is not easy. When you have kids, I have 4 daughters. It's not easy. Now they're growing up. My eldest is 17, turning 18. It's not easy. It's challenging, right? Just the preparation of making food, it's not easy. They fight. It's not easy. But I would say family is the best place to express love, trust, sacrifice. And I'm always excited to go, even it's challenging, because knowing that I have a family. And that's one thing I like about Destiny. We are a family. Because in the family, we don't compete with one another. We complete with one another. Amen? That's why for us to engage into covenantal relationship, the first thing that we have to understand is our identity. Who are you and whose are you? If that is not clear, we'll always have a problem with our relationship with one another. It is so important, whose are you? Because when you have that understanding of whose are you, the identity is easier. When we know that we are from God and we are for God, and we know that we are sons and daughters, we are secured. Amen? I learned this from Daddy Lev. He said, you cannot cast out the spirit of orphan. You can only love that person until all this spirit will just vanish in you. Amen? So it's true in the family, when someone feels that they are insecure, all that they needed is to be secured through love. Amen? It's not automatic, but when people feel that they are loved and accepted, they begin to blossom, they begin to trust. So identity is so important, because if identity is not secure, when you have insecurity in your heart, we will always make other people to be insecure so that you'll be secure. And one of the worst enemy of relationship is comparison. Especially when all your peers are, they're being promoted in life, they got married, they have their house, they have wow, they're being promoted and you're still single and available and happy. The secret of being single is to stay single, to stay happy single. Because you can be a happy couple, not all the time that when you are a couple, you're already automatically happy. But if you are a happy single, it will be easier to be a happy couple. Amen? Yeah. The secret is to look for another happy single. The worst picture that can happen to a person is to be married with the wrong person. I tell you, better stay single if that's the case. But really, very important to know who you are, because being secured of your identity, it's because relationship is not easy, right? Do you think the relationship is easy? Come on. Even the closest person next to you, even couples fight. Except Pastor Paul. I know he's invincible. When was the last time you fight? Where's Mommy Al? I know the story. But again, this is how relationship is not easy, it's a choice. How do we resolve our differences? Why would Jesus put in the Lord's Prayer that we forgive in a regular basis? Because in a regular basis we are offended. No one is exempted, We can be happy today. After my preaching, you'll be hurt. Because of what I said, Sometimes this heart is so easily being hurt. That's why the scripture is clear. Guard your heart with all diligence. Because when the heart is disappointed, even how gifted you are, if you allow pain to stay in your heart, bitterness to stay in your heart, it's so difficult. But when we give enough room to grow. I tell you, before I reach where I am right now, I have a lot of stories to share. But covenant relationship gives you that confidence to just pursue life, knowing that people can accept you. First, the Lord and your family. Are we here? Are we talking? So, it's easy to accept the word, the best, That's why, if you want change, the first change that we need to have to change is this. Change ourselves. Because if I change, everything changes. If you change, everything changes. And the challenge today is this. To show up with the best version of you. The best version of us. I tell you, if we finish this day and we will show up tomorrow with the best version of us, there's wow. Come on. Do you believe there's wow tomorrow? We will wow one another when we show up with the best version of us? The best smile, the best attitude? Where are you? Are you here? Are you here? Amen? So, it says connect, collaborate, and courage. It's really true. Connection. Let's maintain the connection we have with one another. If there's one thing that we have to always protect between couples, the most important thing that we have to keep is the connection. Because if you lose the connection, then issues comes. And so with the relationship with one another, let's keep the connection. Don't cut the connection. Amen? Stay connected. You know the word connection is very important. I will just mention the word Wi-Fi. How frustrating it is when you're not connected. Are you not frustrated if you're not connected? The same is true with life. If you have this connection with people, especially the people who are close to your heart, it's so exasperating. It's so tiring when you're not connected to your wife. Even for an hour, if you try to fight with your wife and reconcile, even for 1 hour, it's like, oh, please, darling. It's so hard. Can you worship God when you have that issue? Trying to just raising your heart and your hands and I worship you, God, and the next person standing to you, you have issue, you have disconnection. Do you feel the anointing flowing? Yeah. Amen? It's annoying. When it's not anointing, it's annoying. Are we still getting this? That's why it is important to start with identity. I am a son of God. I am a daughter of God. And let's just read John chapter 13, verse 14. I think it's the latter part, not 14. Let me just... Take a breath. John 14. Verse 34. It says here, John 13 verse 34, a new commandment I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Oh, I long for that day. That when the world will look at us, they will say, I like that group. I like that family. I like that church. It is simply because they can see the love of God flowing in our midst. Amen? I long for the day that we will reflect what love looks like here on earth. Because love looks like something. It looks like honor. It looks like giving and supporting one another. Love looks like something. And honor is what love looks like. And it's amazing that in the context of family, in the context of this setting, honor is much needed. It's so needed because honor is putting the highest regards to that person, the highest esteem. You will look at people with value. Honor is putting value to people. And it's amazing because when we honor, it's hard to honor without love. And the look of love is honor.
Yeah.
So if we are to honor people, it's as if saying we use the eyes of God to see the people around us and we look at them with value. And you cannot devalue something you honor. So when we look at one another and we use the lens of God and we look at each people, we look at them with value. That's how we honor one another. The reason why people rebel is because they felt that they're not valued. And it's amazing, it's crazy because the word honor in Greek is timi, which to look with value, with high esteem, high regard. But artini means to look at them as common and ordinary. We can never maximize the grace that God gives each one of us, when we don't know how to honor. Each one of us carries something. We're unique in our uniqueness. Amen? That's why never try to compare yourself with anyone. You're unique. Your time will come. Not only the people who stands in the platform are recognized. No, be the best version of yourself. Keep growing yourself, whatever it is that God has placed in you, so that when we enter into covenantal relationship, we add value with one another. Amen? So, the culture of covenantal relationship is so much connected to love. It's so much connected to honor. And in order for us to, as a family, you know, it's very complex. It's really complicated. But when there's honor and love amongst us, we can face any challenge. Amen? Nothing is difficult. And it's true, our theme, growing. There's a need for you and me to grow. It's not one-sided. Growing together. When we grow as one, we're stronger. Amen? And let me just cite a powerful story in the scripture in 1 Samuel 18. And let's learn from the story of David and Jonathan and King Saul. In verse 1, it says here, when David has finished speaking with Saul, at this point, David just killed Goliath. So he had this newfound fame. He was an amazing man. He killed a Goliath that saved the whole Israel. And in this verse it says here, when David had finished speaking with Saul, Jonathan committed himself to David and loved him as much as he loved himself. In other translation it says here, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. Wow, this is powerful. The second next commandment that Jesus has given us is to love your neighbor as you love thyself. There is that powerful reality that we have to understand, that we need to love ourselves so that we could love other people. Amen? Are we getting this? And here it says, Jonathan committed himself to David and loved him as much as he loved himself. Wow. In verse 2, from that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. And something is going on in this picture. In verse 4, it says here, then Jonathan removed the robe he was wearing and gave it to David. Wait. Something is happening. We know that Jonathan is our right next king because he is a son of a king. Amen? And this is a powerful picture. And I believe this is a holy moment between Jonathan and David. If Jonathan is not secure with his identity as a son, as a prince, he will not do this. Actually, he will get rid of David because he is a threat to his position. Amen? But sons and daughters of God who knows their identity, who knows their place in God, can recognize anointing that God has placed to other people. And they're willing to use their position in life for them to be stepped upon so that other people will increase, so that other people will be promoted. And this is a powerful picture. It says here, he removed the robe. Wait, he's removing this robe. It's not only a picture of abdicating, but he was as if saying, David, you're the next king, not me. Getting this? And it says here not only that he gave his robe, then he gave it to David along with the military tunic, his sword, his bow, and his belt. Wow. This is something that we can learn from this scripture.